So by the time you're watching this video, I would have undergone a surgery for my nose. I have a deviated septum. If you know what that is, if you don't, basically it means that your nasal canal is like not right. Instead of being straight, it's curved, and you get the gist of it. Basically, it means you can't breathe properly through your nose. And mine is so bad to the point where the doctor said if someone with a non-deviated septum, a normal nose, was to do this, they would be able to breathe more than me through their nose, which is pretty insane. So I can't lie, I'm very excited for it. I know when I'm watching this video, when it goes out, I will probably be laughing and thinking, yeah, this pain is unbearable. I can't be bothered. But I do also think that I'm a little bit nervous, or I guess worried, with the recovery period, and knowing that it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks of, no gym, not being able to do things as well as I could now. For instance, breathe. I apparently have to retrain how to breathe through my nose. Not that I could in the first place. Um, but going through that, I'm right now just trying to mentally prepare myself for it. I guess a few things that I'm doing in the lead up to it, and I guess why I want to share this story or experience, or what I'm going through now, is because if someone out there knows that they're coming into a period of time where they're going to go through a surgery and be out for 4 to 6 weeks, or you can ahead of time see that something's going to hold you back from achieving your goals. Maybe what I'm going through now and what I'm doing to prepare myself for it might help. So this week, there's a few things that's really going on through my mind. I guess we can sort of break it down in terms of like work, my coaching business, and gym and social life. So for work, obviously, work is work. Put in leave, um, have other people try and pick up your tasks. Obviously now I want to try and get ahead of all my tasks that I have this week. So to do that, it's probably just going to be a little more longer days. So be a lot more organized with what you're doing. Liaise with your different team members and colleagues that you work with on a normal basis, and just let them know the go. And then ideally try and make the transition period easy for them. And the reason why I emphasize this so much is because you, as a colleague, would appreciate it so much if you knew ahead of time that another one of your colleagues is going to be out for a period of time, because it'd make your life a lot easier. It wouldn't just be a lot of work thrust upon you. And so I'm under the impression that what goes around comes around. If I can do this to my colleagues, then had they or should they be going through a different experience, they would be able to do the same with me. And so that's the first step. The second step would then be, um, you know, what can I also do now to make sure that I'm getting ahead of the tasks, so there's not a huge backlog of things when I am back. So I guess from the work perspective, it really is just those things. From a more business perspective, I guess right now recording this video ahead of time because I know next Sunday I will not be in any mood, nor I guess mental state to be recording videos, given that this surgery I've heard for the next week after doing it is not pleasant. And once again, when I watch this video back, I think I'll laugh on that because I'll know, yep, it's not pleasant at all. So that's another thing that I'm doing. It's like, well, how can I prepare a bunch of things ready to go so that in the time that I'm out, there's stuff prepared and ready to go. And then it's communicating with my clients, in a couple of days' time, hey, this is what's the go, and setting some realistic expectations around client check-ins or responding to client messages, even putting together some educational videos for clients. It's, how do I make the most of my time now so that I can, um, create a library of things ready to go, so that I'm not feeling pressured to do that while I'm recovering. And so I guess the next thing would then be, what can I do also in the time that I'm recovering that I can do, or what can I do in the time that I'm recovering that I could also do now, and what can I do now that I can't do in the time that I'm recovering for the business. So I'll give you a couple of things. The first thing would be what I can't do. So what I can't do, I probably can't record a lot of videos with me speaking and giving energy because I just won't be in that mental headspace. So doing all of those now in advance would be the best way to go about that. What I can do now that I could also be able to do while I'm recovering is maybe just studying. So I'm currently enrolled in a training nutrition and female physiology course. And so instead of doing those things this week, I would rather I prioritize recording content, doing things that I won't be mentally available to do while I'm recovering now, and then prioritizing all of those tasks while I'm in my recovery phase. That way I'm still being able to push the business forward and I'm not just completely taking a step back and just doing nothing. And yes, of course, you have to prioritize recovery, but there also is the fact that you have an obligation to your clients, you know? And I feel like there's an expectation to uphold, and I owe my clients my effort as much as that can be at the time. So that's what I'm doing in terms of my business. Now, in terms of gym, this has been one that's it's not been easy to obviously come to terms with, because knowing that 4 to 6 weeks off gym, and maybe in the latter weeks, week 5 and 6, I could probably train lightly. It's not easy, because obviously you're going to experience some muscle loss, not a lot, as long as I keep my protein intake up and I try and keep active by, maybe getting some steps in around and about the house. You will experience some of that. Maybe I might experience some weight loss. I hope. I'd rather lose a bit of weight than gain weight, because if I gain weight, I know it'll purely just be fat, because you can't gain muscle if you're not stimulating your muscles through the gym. So I'd rather go through a weight loss than a weight gain. So just being actively aware of that also. And then also just thinking, okay, what can I do now to really make the most of it? And what I can do now is I am going to give every single session from now till my surgery date the best, the most I could give it. And it really excites me, because I think then, well, why don't I treat every week like this? And if I treat every week like that, there's chances are after a few weeks I wouldn't be able to recover, or I might start to feel some, sore joints or small, sore tendons, because pushing yourself to failure every single session without taking many rest days in between is probably not the best way to train if you want long-term growth and long-term sustainability. But because I know I'm going to have 4 to 6 weeks of recovery, I'm really willing and I can't wait to do that. So going into this week, I'm probably going to be giving a lot of my sessions 150% effort. Probably not going to be taking any rest days, because I do want to train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday before my surgery on Friday. So that's how I'm navigating the gym. And then of course with nutrition, it's simply just, I've got my meals prepped up for the week, and obviously afterwards it's like, well, sure, I've got to prioritize some protein, but it really is just, what are easy foods that I can eat, that I can probably, bring into the house now, so I'm not snacking on just ice cream and, other liquid foods or liquid calories that might not have any nutritional benefits to it. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to just completely neglect your health because you're sick, and, that is a valid excuse to neglect your health. But at the end of the day, you don't want to do that, especially if you know how important it is to consume whole foods, because whole foods will probably likely result in your recovery phase being a little better, and obviously helping you with, retaining whatever muscle, whatever endurance, anything that you have at that point in time before surgery. So that's what I'm doing from that perspective. Now, from the social perspective, it is obviously going to be a bit difficult, because how can you really see friends or, be social with other people if you're not able to move or get out and about? And so it's just, setting expectations, or just communicating with friends, with family, of what you're going through. And then who knows, you might even be able to just, I don't know, say jump on a random phone call with friends, while you're in that recovery phase. I guess just making sure that you're always communicating what you're going through, and, plans ahead, so that you're not just going ghost on people. I think that's probably the best thing to do in that regard. Obviously, you've got social events and other things, and for me, I'm pretty much aware of all those events coming up, and I guess that's why I did choose this specific date for my surgery, and not in a few weeks' time or in a few months' time, because I know that for the next 4 to 6 weeks, it's pretty light on events for me. So I'm more than happy to do that. So I guess that was the social side. That's my rationale for choosing my surgery on that date. But yeah, that's pretty much all the things that I'm currently doing or planning to do before my surgery. So with that said, if you know you're going to be entering into a period where you won't be able to do what it is that you do on a regular basis for 4 to 6 weeks, The best things you could do is plan ahead, take action on things now to ensure your success during your recovery period. For instance, things like making sure you got to-do tasks that you could do in that time. Perhaps you've been wanting to, start a business. I don't know. Perhaps you've been wanting to, build a clothing brand. Perhaps you've been wanting to read all these books. Use that time off now to do those things. And I say, of course, time off. You're going to be recovering, but at the end of the day, I know a lot of us, when we're recovering, it's probably Netflix, it's probably, video games, it's something that we could maybe substitute with a book. Maybe we can start journaling. Maybe we can do a bit more reflecting. Things that we wouldn't normally do in our busy day-to-day schedule. Take advantage of the moment you're in, because these moments only come once in our life. And it's funny because so many times in our life we're so busy, we're like, oh, if only I could just get a few days off or a week off. And those moments is those few days or that week off. So use those few days or few weeks off to get ahead on the things that you want to do. Of course, take some time to, scroll on TikTok or whatever it is and maybe play a bit of video games or, watch some Netflix, catch up on some shows. But try and use this time to get ahead on the things that you want to do, to take action on those few things. Because you don't know. You could perhaps make something of those things, and you might be able to even see the value in doing that. So when you are recovered, you implement that into your schedule. And so all of a sudden now, instead of going back to how you were before your surgery, you're now in a new routine, in a new schedule before or after your surgery, because you've developed a routine or a habit during your recovery period, and you're like, well, I see the value in doing this. How could I not do this moving forwards? So just think about those few things. Make sure you just communicate with other people what you're going through, because the last thing you want to do is go ghost on other people, especially those who do support you through thick and thin. So just doing that, I think, would be the best thing. So yeah, once again, I'll rephrase that, I'll summarize that, make it a little bit easier. Make sure you have a plan in place in order for things that you want to do during that recovery period. Make sure that you are handing over specific tasks that you won't be able to do during that recovery period. Try and do what you can't do now, and leave what you can do now for your recovery period if you can do that. So try and think of all those tasks in advance. Future planning and future pacing, looking at where you want to also be after your recovery, I think is very important, because if you tell yourself that you want to come out of that recovery and be at least on the same path as where you were pre-recovery, then sure, keep doing what you're doing. But if you know that, okay, I want to be a bit ahead, I know I can make the most of my time is valuable, we don't know if there will be tomorrow, let me make the most of it, then I guess you know what to do. So with that said, if you are also going through a surgery or coming that up, good luck, God bless, and a speedy recovery to you.